you don't want to ban it, and you want to pick it in like the second phase usually. Very strange.
I mean, that's why, right? He's very situationally good. When you're winning the game, find so many pickoffs. When not, well, they're running into you, not away from you.
Yeah. And the hero that he combos up with the most, that of course Trent has talked about a lot, is that Naga Siren. The sleep into Static Storm with, of course, the kinetic field to work with.
Oh, we saw a massive Navi comeback yesterday, right? 12K gold.
They almost came back.
Almost. Oh, they brought the game back.
They did bring the game back, that is for sure. But it didn't work out for them. Speaking of the Naga, she is going to be banned out. There is that first pitch Wick Doctor that we talked about a little bit earlier. TNC will grab that, and now Optic have the next two choices. They could go for a Gyrocopter, but the IO Gyro opening they went for last, the last time they played against Virtus Pro, that's been taken away, the IO.
Very true. Still, pretty decent hero, right? It's nice that he doesn't operate as the true one position. You know what I mean? Like, he's always paired up with this sort of a semi-carry physical damage dealer, or at least scaling hero.
Yeah. Just
so that even when he is countered by like the Life Stealer or Juggernaut, for example, speaking of the Gyro, there he is, he still has a chance to play the game, right? He changes his item build. He doesn't go for like that heavy DPS build. He goes for like tanky style build.
Yes.
You know, and then you can outlast some of these counters.
Yeah. So we'll see what they want to pick up in terms of like the actual one position kind of hero for Optic. But they have the Gyrocopter now. They pick up the Bane as well. This is a hero they really enjoy. I think PPD plays it the most, I believe, on the Bane.
Yeah.
That's just a very strong hero. You've got Lockdown and Feeble's always nice. Fiend's Grip. But we'll see if they can deal with that now that they have a puck coming out for TNC. And remember, this puck was played by Armel yesterday. Despite it being primarily, I think, mostly an offlane hero now, it was Armel that played it in the mid lane. I'm not sure Sam H will want to play this type of hero.
I've seen him play it in the past for sure, but it's not the go-to hero that I think Sam H.
We talked about the Bat Rider yesterday.
Yep, Bat Rider, Nyx Assassin, these playmaking heroes that look for all these openings and are just self-sufficient in the offlane. So let's talk a bit about the Bane. This hero, I would say, it's fallen out quite a bit.
Yeah.
Not so popular anymore.
Yeah.
But I think it's good for this team just because of the way Peter plays in general. This is very, like, he operates on his own. You know what I mean? He can sit in the trees, set up all these ganks and engagements on his own while still being a threat on the map.
Yeah. He's got a lot of burst damage. You can allow your roaming hero to go and do something else and leave the Bane with the Gyrocopter or whoever he's paired with. He's a very self-sufficient laner in that regard. He has the brain tap obviously to work with, so.
Yep. He makes plays on his own just by camping out in the trees.
Yeah. So they will pick it up with the second pick. And then we have DK banned out in Terrorblade. What do you think about Terrorblade? I don't think we talked about him too much yesterday.
You know, he's been banned in so many games in the second phase. He's a fantastic hero. He's still like, he's one of these heroes that has a good early game, mid game, and late.
Yeah.
Right? There have been so many popular heroes through the metas, like Invoker is the biggest example in my mind, where he's fantastic in the late game. So what do? Nerf the early game so you struggle to get to that part of the game where he's actually strong, right?
Yeah.
But you still keep the same concept of the hero alive. You know, he still functions in the exact same way. And then Terrorblade has received so many buffs, like he got extra armor, and then help fix the early game. When he already hits such high power spikes at these other parts of the game, it's just, it's a weird way to balance a hero, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You're removing a weakness instead of making it situationally.
And that feels like historically what Ice Frog has done for a lot of the patches and the balance. Yes.
There you go. Terrorblade does that for you. He's got 2 nullifiers.
Perfect. Good stuff, Terrorblade. So now we'll get back into the picks, though. It is Tiny, picked up by Optic. This is another hero we saw a lot of yesterday. Hit or miss. We've seen it do wonders. He's got tree grab. He can thwack you. He's pretty good in lane because of the tree grab, despite the nerf that they gave him.
Yep.
He's just a good burst hero in general. And like you mentioned yesterday, he can grow up through the game, so it's always exciting to see that.
It's very important to understand what he goes through in life. Helps you get attached to the hero a bit. But in the games he did lose yesterday, I'm not sure if he did win a game yesterday at all, but I remember we watched or we casted 2 games in particular where he did happen to lose. He still had a lot of impact in the game, right? He pressured his lane extremely hard, was able to make plays. Looked like a good hero. Overall.
The thing I noticed about the Tiny was the tossbacks. There were a lot of them, not just by the Tiny himself, but Morphling also.
That's right.
Coming back at Tiny. RTZ played it beautifully for EG in that pain game. That was just a silly Morphling game for RTZ, let me tell you.
Yeah, it was very wonky.
So, but instead of the Tiny now, we have Tusk on the TNC side. This hero has seemed to be one of the dominant 4-position roaming supports, I would say. But he's played in a way that he doesn't need that many items, I think.
Right, items. He doesn't scale too well.
Exactly.
Right. Purely a utility hero, damage output, not really there. It's reliant on the other heroes, which is fine. They have Witch Doctor and Puck. Lots of damage between these heroes. But he's a pretty good hero.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people that really enjoy the 4-position Tusk being played or the roaming Tusk being played. I don't know if he was changed particularly too much in the last patch, but I think this is a strong roamer. I think he's still pretty good. What do you think, Rex?
Yeah, he's still very strong, especially ganking in the mid lane. The ramp is so thin that when I shard it, it blocked off completely.
Yeah.
So these vulnerable heroes like Shadow Fiend, who need some time to scale up, they get picked on.
That'll be for Optic. So this is a hero that we saw TNC play for Tim's yesterday. Now Optic will grab it instead, and they will have the Nyx to work with. So you have Bane, Nyx, probably your support duo, Tiny maybe in the offlane, Gyro probably in your safe lane, I would say.
I would assume so. It's a pretty important pick here for TNC because they've shown this Puck core who can be played in the offlane as well as the mid lane, right? Out comes the Nyx Assassin from Optic Gaming. Now TNC have to reveal where this hero goes.
Yeah. We'll see with this next pick, next 2 picks, in fact. They have plenty of reserve time. A lot of fast drafts so far in this particular tournament. And it will be the Life Stealer, which works really well with both the Puck as well as the Tusk, the Infest bombs coming out. Something that actually Mineski played when TNC were playing them yesterday. They will grab it for themselves this time.
Yep, Life Stealer very good against the Gyrocopter. Rage avoids all the magic damage from him, and he's a hero that can just get on top of the Gyro and sit down and focus him. Also not affected by Assassin unless Nyx carapaces before Life Stealer infests. Then when he comes out, he just gets stunned instantly and can't read.
Yeah, and the thing is also the Nyx is now forced to not go for the Vendetta hit. You could try for it, but it's just safer to go for the Impale if you're trying to gank the Life Stealer, which is tough to do to begin with.
It is tough to just land the Impale out of the Vendetta with the attack or anything like that. It's a way to deal with them. It's not so bad. They also have the Bane to help lock down Life Stealer and Rage. TNC, they need to decide where to put this Puck, most likely. I would assume it's going to be in the offlane because mid players do not want to play Puck against Nyx Assassin because he just comes to your lane and mana burns you.
It was different last game for TNC when they had the Puck and the Nyx Assassin. They don't have that luxury this time around.
Exactly. He'll be receiving that treatment this time around.
Mana burn's no fun for that Puck, and we'll see what they will do in terms of if he does go offlane, who are they going to put in the mid lane for TNC? I would have said DK, but that of course is not available. It's been banned out. It's a hero that I think is still pretty strong. So.
There's also a big problem if they do decide to put the Puck mid lane, then the Puck can get heavily counterpicked. The Dragonite has already been banned out, but heroes like Timbersaw against Puck, probably one of the worst matchups. Like, Puck doesn't do enough magic damage to Timber to kick him out of lane. Even when people come to gank, it's just not enough. So very big, important pick.
Yeah, they're taking all their time.
Something that's very stable. You don't hit one of these big counter picks.
We'll see what else is available. Anything coming to your brain right now in terms of TNC's last pick?
Bans. I mean, there's no real mid heroes being banned out outside of the what do we have?
Shadow Fiend.
Okay.
The old standby.
Okay.
We only saw him once yesterday. It was Miracle who had a fantastic game on that particular Shadow Fiend. So we'll see if they can have the same sort of game for Armel. I would assume Armel is going to be playing the Shadow Fiend in this particular matchup.
You know, this is probably one of the most fun heroes to watch. Shadow Fiend. So satisfying.
Yeah.
Except we used to see Shadow Fiend hit jungle creeps for about 15 minutes. That wasn't too much fun.
That wasn't fun.
This is a whole different era of Shadow Fiend. This guy wants to kill.
The added damage from the raises is always nice. They did nerf that in the last patch, by the way, so it's a little bit less damage for the stacked Shadow raises. Something to consider.
It makes a big difference at level 1 when Shadow Fiend would land all 3 raises and take out like 60% of the guy's health.
So, and that's the issue also, is that the Shadow Fiend might not have the best auto attack damage early on to the game, but you can definitely get some raises off for sure. And that's been now nerfed a little bit. So
curious to see what Optic want to put against the Shadow Fiend, because it is the Tusk that can also roam in to set up these raises as well.
Templar Assassin. You may now select your heroes.